Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Still Learning Podcast, the podcast where we celebrate growth in all its messy, beautiful, and raw forms. I'm your host, Fortune Fowle, and here we lean into faith, truth, and God's grace as we embrace the journey one step at a time. And I'm so excited to have you here because in today's episode, we're going to be delving into all things anxiety. Yes, you heard me right, anxiety. So if you're an overthinker like me and sometimes can wear yourself sick like I do from time to time, this episode is for you. I hope it brings you encouragement, and by the end, you feel more empowered to combat anxiety with faith, truth, and the peace only God can give. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Still Learning Podcast. So happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Honestly guys, these last couple days, I can't even say days because this has honestly been something on my mind these last couple months since September actually. If some of you guys recall from the first episode, I am graduating from college this year. I'm graduating from nursing school. Yay, so exciting. It's been a long journey getting here. 4 years. I actually can't believe it's going to be 4 years. Like, that's insane to me. But 4 years have slowly yet quickly gone by, and I am now in this point in my life where I'm getting ready to transition. And I haven't even fully transitioned yet, but just the idea of transitioning into something new, into a space that I have not navigated before, has been really daunting to me, and honestly has spiked a lot of anxiety within me these last couple months. Like, I remember a couple months ago, my mom had asked me about my plans post-graduation, and she was telling me, oh, do you know where you're going to put your stuff? Like, are you going to put away in a unit for storage, or are you going to bring it back home? Like, just her even asking me that question made me sick. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but it did. I had to tell her, like, Mom, can we please not talk about this? That is such a long time from now. Can we just talk about this another day? Because just even putting myself in that mindset of having to figure out the next step was really scary. I mean, let's talk about it in terms of school. I have been in school my whole entire life leading up to this. Like, I did pre-K, guys. Like, I have been in school since I was about 3 years old. And I always knew what I was doing next when it came to school. You go from kindergarten to first grade, elementary school to middle school to high school to college. There was this sense of security that even if I didn't necessarily know what I was going to do in high school, or what high school I was going to go to, or what career I'm going to do when I go to college, I always knew that, well, at least after middle school, there's high school, and after high school, there's college. Like, I always knew that there was another portion of school that I was going to go through, and that was a sense of security for me. A sense of, okay, at least this is where I'm going to go next. I don't need to have every little detail figured out. And that was so grounding for me now that I realize it, coming to a space now where my next step is not school. Like, I do plan on going for higher education, but that won't be for a couple years from now, to be quite honest. And so the fact that I'm really stepping out into adulthood and having to actually do this thing is causing me a lot of worry, because I don't know what I'm doing next. And as someone who is a meticulous planner, over planner, plans in advance, like, definitely has some control problems that God is working out within me, like, who needs to have a next step, because if I don't, I'm going to think of 100 different, like, what ifs, and I'm going to spiral, I'm going to overthink, and it's just really good for my mind and my mental health to have some sort of a plan, and I'm not the kind of person where every little detail needs to be figured out. Like, I'm very okay with that, which is why I think in some ways, like, I can be flexible. I just need an outline. You know, when you're preparing an essay and, you really need to write your outline first, because once you have your outline and then it's time for you to write that essay, you can write that essay in like an hour because you already prepared your outline, right? You didn't have all the details figured out, but the moment you had to sit down, had your outline all ready to go, you were set. That's me in a nutshell when it comes to just life and going through the stages in life, I just need an outline. The details, we can figure that out along the way, but like, I just need a general idea of where this is gonna go, and I'm set. And the fact that I don't have a general idea, that there is no outline, that it's giving free ball right now, like, I'm not even on rough draft phase. Like, it's scary. It's scary, guys. But I think what has been most scary for me in this process and in this point in my life where I'm about to go through a major transition in my life, from school to the workforce to actually really living on my own. Like, I have been living on my own. Like, I've lived on campus all 4 years, but I have been blessed enough to be able to stay on campus, so I never really had to worry about finding an apartment or anything like that. And I'll dive into that a little bit later on in the episode and my feelings towards that. But the most scary part for me is not aligning in God's will. I don't know if that makes sense, but the scary part for me is disappointing God. It's like, okay, if I make a decision right now, will it be in God's will? Is it the place where God's calling to me to be, like calling me to go work in this hospital, move to this city? Like, God, is this a part of your plan for me? Like, am I doing it right? Because I don't want to not be in your will. I don't want to not be aligned in you, but it would be really helpful if I had some sort of direction or outline, God, and right now I have nothing. So how do I make sure that I'm doing your will when you're not even making your will known to me? Like, just that raw honesty with God. Like, I'm scared of disobeying you, but I don't even know what I need to be obedient to you about. Like, I don't know. I don't like not knowing. And I think that also might be a human nature thing where we just don't like knowing. We like to figure things out, know everything. And I don't believe we can ever know everything, but I like to know most things. Like, that makes me feel better, helps me sleep better at night, if I'm being honest. And so really being honest with God about that. But here's the thing. When I do that with God, when I'm like, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know my next steps, and you're not telling me what they are, and I want to be patient. I'm going to wait on you, Lord, because waiting on you is always worth it. But God, the time is clicking, months are passing, days are going, and I still have no idea. So, like, I know you're there. I know you hear my prayers. I know you're listening. I know you're watching me spiral and worry myself sick. So, I don't want to rush you or anything because your timing is perfect. But, time. And like, in those moments where I'm like that with God, I love it when He confronts these fears that I'm having and these uncertainties that I'm facing with experience. Like, He's like, okay, check my resume. In a way, and it's humbling, but it's also encouraging when He reminds me that we've been here before. This isn't the first time you face an uncertainty. This isn't the first time you're going through a major transition in life. This isn't the first time where you are having to take a leap of faith into things that you have no idea about. It's not the first time you're going to be entering spaces that you have no idea how to navigate. It's not the first time. It's not the second time. And every single time I have seen you through, I have been faithful, and I've also gone above and beyond than anything you expected or thought it could be. So what do you think I'm going to do this time around? If I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever, would it not be the same way? And I'm like, you're right, God, you're right. Let me bring some things back to my remembrance. And the thing that I remembered is the last major transitional period in my life was coming to college. I went to college out of state, so I was leaving home. And leaving home was never like a problem for me. And that's so crazy. I know some people like get homesick. That wasn't really me. Have always kind of been really independent and like a little free bird. Like, I've always been someone who's not afraid to like go somewhere by myself or travel somewhere by myself. One, I love spending time by myself. Like, I really do. I appreciate my own company. And two, I kind of have the mindset of like, I don't want to wait for someone else before I can do something. If I had the means, the way, and the ability to do it, then I'm gonna do it. Like, if I can do it on my own, I don't have to wait for someone, then why not? That's kind of always been my mindset. I'm at times hyper independent, and that can not always be so beneficial to me. But I came to school out of state, and even in regards to decision for me going to college and picking the college I wanted to go to was actually a leap of faith. So during the time period when it came to deciding what college I wanted to go to, I was about, I want to say maybe 2 years into my faith journey. And I definitely feel like in the beginning of your faith journey, when you give your life to Christ, like you are so hyper fixated on getting everything right. At least I was. And this also might kind of be more innately who I am. Like I can be a perfectionist in many different ways. And so I really wanted to get it right. But also this was a major decision. This was where I was going to be the next 4 years, where I was committing myself to. And I always knew that I was going to go to the college that gave me the most financial aid, that was going to be the least amount of money, because I am financially responsible for my education. And I also do not want to graduate with piles of debt. Like I genuinely believed and stated this with a boldness that I would graduate college debt free. And like when I would say this, people, even my family, would be like, girl, like in this day and age, in this economy, like that's not as realistic. But I was like, no, like there's no way I will graduate college debt free. Like I was so certain, not in myself, and not even certain in terms of like all that financial means and security was going to come to me. I was just like, there's no way God is going to allow me to graduate college debt free. He is going to come through. I know it. Like I know it. And he did. I'm so grateful. Like sidebar, thank you so much, God. And it is possible to do it. All things are possible with the Lord. So if you have in your mind to graduate college debt free, if you have in your mind to just to do anything honestly, and as long as it's in the will of the Lord, trust and believe it will come to pass no matter what obstacles, circumstances you have to face. Because it's not like I became debt free the moment I started college. I actually did take out loans during a certain period in my college time, but God came through, and graduation is approaching, and I have been able to pay off every single loan that I took out. Even the loans that I did take out were very small amounts, and I was able to pay them back before I graduate. And so I'm able to graduate college debt free, which I'm so grateful to. This is a sidebar, but that is just like a word of encouragement for anyone. Like genuinely, God can do all things. It is possible. It will happen. That's it. Back to what I was talking about before. When it came to picking a college, like I was saying, financial factor, like financially was the number one factor. What is the least amount of money? What is not going to break my pockets? And then the other part, everything else was kind of like, okay, does it have a good nursing program? Is it campus pretty? Like my major thing was just like money. Like I'm not gonna lie. I was like, a degree is a degree. I just need to make sure I'm not in piles of debt at the end of this. And so when I got all my acceptance letters and my financial aid packages, I was seeking God for clarity on where I should go to college, And the reason why I was doing that, because I know I said my major decision and the determining factor for me was finances, but I did have a dream college that I wanted to go to, and I did end up getting accepted into my dream college, which was a super exciting moment for me. And my dream college was actually the one that gave me the second most amount of money. The college that gave me the most amount of money was actually the college I'm currently going to now. But that is actually not like the main point and the deciding factor that led me to actually going to the college I go to now. What actually had happened is that before any college applications came out, before I received any word for them about acceptances or anything like that, and I actually had this written down in my notes. Today, February 1st, 2021, I feel it deep within me, the Holy Spirit telling me that I will end up going to, and then the name of my current college now. And I remember when I got that back in February, I was like, what? Because the thing is, the college that I'm currently going to now, when I applied there, I kind of just applied there because I saw that it was one of the top schools that meet 100% financial need, right? So I was like, oh, okay, then their financial aid has to be really good. And that's also a tip for you guys. Anyone who's applying to colleges in the undergrad, apply to colleges that meet 100% financial need, because those are typically the schools that would give you the most money in your financial aid packages. But back to the main point. I just applied there, but I wasn't really that interested. I never toured the school. Guys, my first day moving in here was the first time I've ever been on the campus. Thank God I found it to be beautiful. Like, thank God I liked it because I've never seen it before. It was not like how I was with my dream school. My dream school, I'm not kidding, guys. I was watching YouTube videos like back then when people used to do dorm tours and do Q&As about their experiences at their college. Like, I was literally looking up like their uniform, their gear. Like, I was doing extensive deep dive, planning out my life at this school, planning out my career, like talking to their advisors at the school to see what it would look like the next 4 years there. Like, I was committed. I was like, I have to go here. This is my school. This is for me. Like, I was so committed to this school. Also, I went through a whole process to get into the school because there's like several like interviewing and application process to be able to go to the school. So I was genuinely like, I have to go here. Like, it meant so much to me if I had the opportunity to even go to that school. So the fact that in February, God was telling me about a school that I could care less about and think I was going to go there compared to my dream school, which was all that I can think about and consume my mind. I was like, like, is this the devil? Because there's no way that he said that. That's not really part of my plan, God. There's a plan here. Right? I go to my dream school, I graduate in 4 years, amazing degrees, stellar recommendations, reputation, everything. Like, God, that is the plan. Like, what do you mean? Like, and I was just like, you know what, God, if this is what you're saying, you know, because at this time, acceptance letters haven't even come out yet. So I was like, you know what, God, if this is what you're saying, I'm gonna leave it to you and we'll see what happens. Right? We'll see what happens. So then for the college I'm currently going to now, they sent out they sent out an email saying that acceptance letters are going to be released in April. And so when I received email from them regarding my decision and whether I was accepted or not in March, I was like, oh, they had to have rejected me. They had to have like denied me because like you literally sent out an email saying that I won't know you guys' decision whether I got accepted or not until April, and now I'm receiving an email in March about whether or not I got accepted. This just has to be a rejection letter. I opened up the email. It was not a rejection letter. It was in fact an acceptance letter, and I was like like, I was shocked. And the financial aid package was great. Like I told you guys, this was the school that gave me the most money out of all the colleges I applied to. And I was thinking back to what God told me in February. I was like, okay, Lord, it's really looking like it was really you who said that. It's really looking like this is the school I'm going to go to. But I had yet to hear back from my dream school. And so, like, I was hopeful to get into my dream school. I was really, really hoping and praying that I got into it because, you know, I really wanted to. But it was also a really hard school to get into. So I didn't want to get my hopes up too high. And I was a good student and like involved in extracurriculars, you know, did what I had to do. But, you know, you never know what can happen. And so when I got back my decision from my dream school, I also got accepted to it. And I was like, no way. Like, I freaked out. Like, I think I cried. I took pictures. I called my family. Like, I was like hysterical. I was hysterical. And it was the best thing ever. But then I came at a crossroads. And the crossroads was that, okay, I got accepted to the school God told me I'm going to go to and my dream school. And I was like, God, what should I do? And I remember God just telling me, you can either go with my plan for your life or your plan for your life. And I was like, God, you could have made this easier. Like, you could have just let my dream school reject me and just leave me with the only option. Like, leave your plan being my only option. That would have been wonderful for me. But God gives us free will. He gives us choice, which is both a beautiful thing, but also sometimes I get really like peeved at it because I'm like, God, like being obedient to you would be so much easier if I did not have free will. Like, my flesh would not be getting in the way like it does all the time. And I know I'm not the only one with that sentiment. But he left me with those options. And yes, there's other colleges, but like, come on. They didn't matter at that point anymore. And I was really conflicted because like, wait, but this is my dream school. Like, guys, I planned out my life at this school. Okay, I knew what dorm I was gonna live in. All right, like, I fully mapped out my whole entire life at this school in the next 4 years and what it was going to look like and the programs and the clubs and everything that I was going to be a part of. And then on the other end was God's plan that I had no idea about. I knew next to nothing about this school. I didn't even know what their mascot was. I didn't even know what the school looked like until my first day moving in. I had no idea what it looked like. Like, I knew nothing about it. There's no plan, no direction if I was to go to that school. I had no idea what was going to come. I didn't know what the dorms looked like. I had no information, and that was so scary. That was so daunting, because if I threw out my plan and went with God's plan, then it meant I had no control. Like, I had no more control. I had to fully surrender myself and whatever was to come the next 4 years to God. I had to just fully be okay with putting myself in the backseat so God can be the one driving my life, driving my future. And I wish I could say that I was so saved and holy that that immediately I said, God, there's not even a decision. There's not even a debate here, God. Of course I'm going to go with your plan. Are you crazy? Of course I'm going to go with your will. That was not the case, guys. God did not tell me you can either go with your plan or my plan. And I said to God, of course I'm going with your plan. No, it wasn't. I said, well, I got to think about that. Like, let me just sit on this for a bit. And sit on it, I did, guys, because I actually also made a pros and cons list of the schools. Like, I had to start researching into the school that God was calling me to and doing all the doing things. I was doing compare and contrast. And when I was doing the pros and cons list, I'm a huge pros and cons person, by the way. Like, anytime I'm being indecisive, listen, a Venn diagram is always going to get me, okay? And so I did that, and it was really still looking like my dream school was the way to go. I'm sorry, it failed in comparison in my mind. And how could I turn down my dream school? But you know what outweighed it all? What outweighed it all was that I was just like, okay, God, if you're calling me to this school, I'm going to go. I'm going to say yes to you, not the school. I'm going to say yes to you, because these last 3 years, actually my whole entire life, you have seen me through in ways that I can't even imagine. You've been so faithful to me. You've allowed me to do and see things that I never thought I'd be able to see and experience. You gave me the will to get up in the morning. Like, literally, because just that period in my life was a very hard period in my life. And so I was just like, God, I can't do anything without you. So if me going to my dream school means that you're no longer with me, it's not worth it. If it means I gotta suck it up and go to the school that you're calling me to, but it means that you're with me, then it makes it worth it. Because as long as you're with me, everything's gonna work out for my good. I had to remind myself of the one who even got me to this point. I had to remind myself that even in the face of fear and anxiety and the unknown, even in the face of me knowing nothing about the place that God was calling me to, I didn't know anything about the demographics. I didn't know if it was I didn't even know what neighborhood it was in. Like, I knew next to nothing, again, about it. And though I knew nothing about the school, I knew everything about God and who He is. I was like, you wouldn't call me somewhere that isn't good. And the thing is, if you're calling me to this place, if it's exactly where you're going to be, then you're going to provide for me. You're going to make a way when there isn't a way. You're going to direct my steps, right? You're going to open my eyes to see you in the middle of this. You're going to open my eyes to see why you called me there, why I was needed there, how it has cultivated me. And genuinely, I would never go back on my decision, because if I didn't say yes to God 4 years ago, if I didn't say, you know what, despite my circumstances, despite what's ahead of me, despite all this uncertainty, I can be certain in God and who He is. I can put my trust in Him. And if I didn't do that, I would not be right here with you guys on this mic. And I'm not kidding, I wouldn't be. These last 4 years of attending my college have been transformational, without a doubt. My mental, physical, spiritual health, I'm not the same person, and I would not be the person I am today. I know this without a doubt if I went to my dream school. I genuinely believe if I went to my dream school. And being here these last 4 years, yes, they have been difficult at times, and the struggle has been real, but every time He's seen me through, and every obstacle and every unknown and every uncertainty, even in regards to my degree, even in regards regards to me picking, like, guys, after my freshman year, I literally wanted to switch out of nursing. I actually saw my note recently when I was going through my notes, backup career plan, because my freshman year was so brutal. I was like, I think I'm in the wrong field, but I'm still here, guys. So clearly, we got through it, but God got me through it. And so in all those uncertainties and unknowns, and I mean, guys, the last 4 years have been one for the books. In all of it, because God was with me, it was good. And when he brought that to my memory, when he brought me to that point of 4 years ago, and now 4 years later, I'm back in that point again. Though my circumstances aren't the same, and also I'm not the same. And now 4 years later, I'm back in that point again. And though the circumstances are not the same, it's no longer high school to college, it's college to the rest of life. Like, I'm back in this point of transition where I'm being reminded of God's faithfulness and his goodness and kindness to me. I'm being reminded of his character and all the unknowns in life, because he is the one who's truly known to me. I know him. Sorry, every time I say I know him, I think about that Kiki Palmer meme where she's like, I know him, God. Like, but that's literally how I feel. I know him. I know God. I know him. He would never do me dirty. Like, I could do myself dirty, but he would never do me dirty. I guess it's in this way he's asking me that question again. Are you gonna go with your plan for your life? Or are you gonna go with my plan for your life? And in that moment, and in this moment, I said, God, your plan is the only option. Like, his plan is the only option, because God, every time I go with your plan, it exceeds everything I thought that it would ever be. And even though I have faced some difficulties along the way, oh, how you've made those difficulties victories. Oh, how you have made the struggles turn into strengths for me. How could I, after all that you've done, and see you do things in a new way that I never saw before, turn my back and think that my ways and my plans are better? Your way is perfect and your word is flawless. Why would there ever be another option? That's what I had to remind myself of. That's what I had to draw myself back to. Because listen, faith is not the absence of fear. And listen, I didn't get that on my own. Actually, Tim Ross said that in one of his most recent podcast episodes, and I said, jot that down, all right? But faith is not the absence of fear. You know what I realized? When it comes to dealing with fear and anxiety, there's a choice still here. There's a choice present. It's like, okay, I can acknowledge that I'm scared. I can acknowledge that I'm dealing with anxiety. I can acknowledge that I'm experiencing worry right now. But what choice am I going to make? You know what? I'm going to acknowledge my fear, but choose faith. And this is a saying I say a lot. I will allow myself to be overwhelmed, but not overcome. I will not allow fear and anxiety to overcome me, because they cannot overcome my God. Therefore, I can feel overwhelmed by these feelings. I can acknowledge them and know that they exist. But what I'm not going to do is allow them to dictate my life and how I move, dictate my choices. I'm going to choose faith. I'm going to choose to trust in the one who I know. I'm going to trust in the one who's certain at all times, 100%, all in for me, and that's God. And so when it comes to things that, are coming to my mind that I'm having to think about, I'm having to figure out, like finding an apartment to live in. I have been spoiled the last 3 years of being able to live on my own, and I'm just someone who, I love my own space. I love my own company. And in the place that I currently live now, it is so expensive. Guys, the cost of living has been crazy. Like, I've never paid rent before. Like, what is rent? What is utilities? What is like a broker's fee? What are we talking about here? What is this? And it makes me scared, because I'm like, what if I don't find a good place? And then it's like, I also had to find a place where it's close to my job and I could commute to my job, but also I don't have a job. I don't even know if I'm still going to be staying in the city that I'm currently residing in now. Like, am I going to move? If I'm going to move then to another city, then how would I find an apartment there and get a job placement there? Should I push back finding an apartment until I find a job placement? Or should I just hypothetically try to find an apartment in places where there's hospitals nearby? Like, guys, literally my mind around the clock. And I just had to take a pause, take a beat, and be like, hold on. Each day has its worries, so I should not even allow myself to worry about the things that are of tomorrow. But also, God will provide the apartment. He's going to do it. I have faith in that. I'm choosing to have faith that God is going to provide the apartment. He's going to provide that job that's going to be secure. It's going to be good. He's going to provide the transportation. He's going to provide the commuting. He's going to provide the money, because as long as I'm exactly where he's called me to be, he's going to provide. He's going to make a way, and all the uncertainties and unknowns that surely will come up, he will make them known to me because he's already known to me. So yeah, me and anxiety have been wrestling. We have been in the ring wrestling. But hey, if you remember episode 2 where I said Jesus always taps in but never taps out, I've been wrestling in the ring with anxiety for long. And anxiety was just about to overcome me, but I tapped Jesus in, and he is now the one wrestling anxiety for me, and now anxiety is being overcome. Okay, so it's just every day, and that's the thing, it's an everyday choice. It's like I can either choose to allow myself to be succumb to fear and anxiety and worry myself to death. Like, and honestly, what is worrying doing for me? Like, I can't remember the last time worrying did anything good for me besides give me gray hairs early on in life and wrinkles and make me cry, and not cute cry, ugly cry. Like, I can't remember the last time it's done anything good for me besides debilitate me and being a hindrance to me enjoying good things. Like, I can't remember any time that worry and anxiety has actually worked for me, only worked against me and worked in limiting me and preventing me from being the best version of myself and experience the best things in life. That doesn't sound like something I want to allow myself, or a state I want to allow myself to dwell in. Doesn't sound enjoyable, not very demure. And the thing is, it's not easy to always make that choice. I'm going to be fully honest with you guys. Sometimes it's easier to allow myself to be consumed by anxiety and worry. Sometimes it's easier to let those thoughts just run rampant, but it's not better. The harder choice, which is choosing faith, which is choosing to be courageous, which is choosing to step out and be willing to get out of my comfort zone and be uncomfortable, being willing to not have it all figured out, being willing to throw out my outline, being willing to throw out my plans, throw out my Venn diagrams, and rest assured in he who created me and the one who would direct my step. That at times is a harder decision to make, but that is the decision that birthed such good fruit for me. It makes me feel more capable, more empowered. It encourages me. It allows me to keep on going. It allows me to be able to surrender more further to God and release more control to him and better my relationship with him, because it is giving space for God to show me just how good he is. It's giving space to God to blow my mind. Like, I want to create space for God to blow my mind. I want to create space for him to turn all my fear and anxiety all the way upside its head, do a 360 axle spin and disintegrate that. Like, I want to see him do that. I want to witness it. I want to experience it. I want it to be a part of my testimony. And though I may stumble along the way, and I actually wrote this down, guys, recently, which it was a point I wrote down that I found so encouraging, and I'm going to share with you guys because I truly hope that I will encourage you, especially you guys who are like me at times, who find themselves throughout life wrestling with anxiety. And like, just as a sidebar, as I pull up this point to let you know that I'm not just speaking from a place of inexperience, but trust me, I'm well versed in battling anxiety throughout life. It's something I've dealt with my whole entire life. I'm speaking from a place of experience, and trust me when I say, when you allow yourself to fully lean into the character of God and who he is, there is this freedom that comes from it. This freedom of, yeah, this is my circumstances, yeah, this is my current condition, but this is nothing compared to what God is going to do, nothing compared to his promises he's going to fulfill and his covenant that is actively at work within me and through me, because that stands, that's everlasting. Like, God is not affected by my circumstances. His word does not change because my circumstances have changed. It's still the same. The same thing he said yesterday is still the same thing today, and it's still the same thing tomorrow. I can have full trust in that. So I pulled up the point, guys, and the point said, "You set my feet, Lord, so even when I stumble, you have made the path before me broad. Therefore, even then my feet are stable." That might have been a little confusing, so I'll kind of like break it down a little bit for you guys, or try to explain it the best I can. I was actually just reading 2 Samuel, so that's where this derives from. It's 2 Samuel chapter 37, and it says, "You provide a broad path for my feet so that my ankles do not give way." And I decided to look up okay, what is a broad path in relation to the word of God? It means that your feet are secure and they are on a path that does not waver. Like God has secured your feet along this path. And so even if you stumble, even if you grow weary, because God has made this path broad for you, so he secured your steps, you will be able to make it through it. And so I wrote down that point. I was like, God, you are the one who set my feet, right? You are the one who created this broad path before me. I didn't create the path, you did. And so even when I stumble, because he's the one who set my feet, I'm still stable. I still have security, even when I stumble along this broad path, because God was the one who created it and the one who set me upon it. I am still in a place of security and stability. And I found that to be so empowering, because even though I don't know my next steps, right? I don't have my post-grad figured out, at all. The only thing I have figured out is that I'm going to listen to whatever God tells me to do. The rest, I don't know. But day by day, I'm allowing God to show me that it's okay that I don't know and that I don't have to know, because God knows. And that's enough for me. Letting that be enough for me. And so I may stumble, I may fall, my ankles might feel weary, but because this is the path that he's laid out for me, and it's broad, it's not like it's a narrow path, it's broad. So even if I fall, I'm still falling along the path. That is beautiful. That is such a testament to his love. Even if I fall on the path, because it's so broad, I'm still on the path, versus a narrow path where if I fall, there is a chance that I'll fall out of line with the path. But because God is so good and faithful, even when I stumble, even when my ankles give out on me, I'm still in the path. God has still placed me in a place of security and stability. I don't need to know what's ahead of me, because I have security and stability in him. I'm good, even if it doesn't look like it. Because faith is not about what is seen, but in what is unseen. It may not look good, but if it's God, it is good. And even if it's not good now, it will surely become good. And so I just don't want to let my anxiety and the unknown and uncertainties cause me to miss out on the good. And I hope that in me sharing with you guys what's currently going on in my life right now, because this is currently what I'm facing. This is currently what I'm struggling with. This is currently something that every day, like I said before, I have to make the choice to choose faith, not fear, not worry, not anxiety. I have to choose to be certain in who God is and his character, and that he will see me through. This is a choice I have to make every single day. Every single day that God gives me breath, I need to wake up and choose him, because he gave me free will. And in a way, it's beautiful that every day I get to choose him, but it's also I don't want there to be a day that I wake up and I don't choose him. And so I have to make that choice every day. And in me making that choice every day, he's showing me why it's the right one. So I hope that you guys are encouraged by this, that you are empowered to face anxiety and face it head on, guys. Don't cower away from it. God constantly reiterates to us not to fear, because with him, we actually have no reason to fear anything at all. We have no reason to worry. So know that he's with you. He's for you, not against you. Thank the Lord that he is for us. He's fighting for you. He wants the best for you, and he is ready to give you the best. He's already prepared it. He's actually leading you to it. Trust in God and the uncertainties of life, the one who is certain, to trust in the one who is known. If this is the push you need, then here it is. Here's the push. No matter what, God is only leading you to goodness. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. You don't need to know the details of God's plan. He makes it so abundantly clear to us. My plans for you, his plans, they are nothing else but to prosper us, not to harm us, and to give us a future. That is what you can be certain of. That is what you can hold on to in all the uncertainties and unknowns that we face in life. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Still Learning. I hope it encouraged you and reminded you of God's faithfulness in the midst of life's uncertainties. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need the encouragement too. Make sure to follow the Still Learning Pod on Instagram. I'd love to hear your thoughts, get more connected with you all, and foster our growing community there. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please leave a review or rating and let me know how I can improve the podcast, because I'm constantly still learning. Your support helps others find the podcast and keeps your journey going. And as a reminder, what it is now is not what it will always be and is not what it will become. Stay encouraged, stay rooted in truth, and I'll see you next time.